I've been thinking about this afternoon in particular. This has been on my mind for a while. I grew up in the New York area. So I love New York. I love Brooklyn. I love New Jersey. I love the whole area. I want to make that clear. But it is.
I love Astoria.
There you go.
Sorry.
It's funny when I'm back in New York a lot. I used to say way out in Astoria, but I won't go there right now.
Progressive haven.
So here's the thing. The thing is, however, is that out here in Wisconsin, where I've lived now for 40 years as a professor and a left person, I always say to myself, I'm really, really tired of the fact that the left voice that we get nationally is out of the East.
Right.
Or, in the case of TYT, the West.
LA, yeah.
Now, I know you're in Arizona right now, but I assume as things improve, you may well leave. What I want to know is, and I know there have to be, I know there are podcasters out here. I know there are people, but how do we create it so when we say national, we don't just mean it goes national, but how do we get the Midwestern perspective into these kinds of media? How do we do that? So in some ways, the idea of a network isn't a bad idea. But if somebody wants to develop that network, not for the idea of television, for the idea of these sort of social media sites, we've got to figure out a way so that the Midwest is represented and the voices are heard. This is just something that's been on my mind today, okay? I mean, we've got big cities here too. We've got
Jacobin's out of Chicago. I mean, a lot of, there's, In These Times, I mean, isn't it In These Times out of Chicago?
In These Times is, yes.
Yeah.
But, right, and it's been around for an awfully long time, and I can tell you that it would be I feared the possibility years ago that In These Times might not survive, and it is doing very well. But what I'm getting at is not just in the print media that we need more. Like Michael's in Brooklyn, and you're going to be back in New York, and Majority Report is out of New York, and Crystal is by way of Rising is down in DC. There ought to be something more. This isn't a lament. This is a call.
Well, some of these hosts, I mean, just to play it fair, because I think I want to talk more about just electorally how we move forward in the movement. That's okay, because Humanist Report, David Dole's out of Toronto. There are people who are out of different places that have big followings.
Humanist Report is great. That's Portland.
Portland, yeah. Right. No, but David Dole's out of Toronto, who's Rational National. So, there are people who are doing incredible work that are in other pockets of the country. Keeping that in mind, moving forward with demographics, if COVID doesn't change things, most people do live in cities. And I understand why that is a big perspective, but we also, as New York, we have a very different type of politics that is focused on demographics. That as a New Yorker, as a former New Yorker, that the way that they carve up districts is based on ethnic neighborhoods. And so you'll hear about this vote and that vote and this vote. And then it becomes part of the rhetoric. Like, I need to appeal to X, Y, Z, and you're not appealing to this. And so then you have this identity, the identity factions kind of playing against each other in some scenarios or working with each other. Yeah. But that doesn't work for national politics. And I think that's kind of what you're hinting at here, is that Bernie may have gotten a little bit off that.
Right. No, but let's face it. I mean, the Democrats lost Wisconsin, Michigan. I mean, something has to happen.
They also didn't go there. So.
Yes, thank you. I mean, that very term, there are two terms that I despise hearing: flyover country and the Rust Belt.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm from Buffalo, so that's about as Rust Belt as you could get. Thank you for watching. You can support The Nomiki Show on YouTube by clicking subscribe, like, and sharing. Because as you guys know, now more than ever, we have to support our independent media. We are being attacked from every angle, and everyone's watching CNN every night, so it's important that we take care of the good guys fighting the fight. You can also join us on Patreon for special content and interviews. We also have swag, like these new mugs, starting as low as $5 a month, which is, basically what an iced coffee is in Manhattan when we had iced coffee shops open. You can go to patreon.com/The Nomiki Show.